Okay, here we are in GRNPA. Set up in camp mode. The internal temperature is set to 71 degrees. The external temperature, by at least according to the car, is 109 degrees. I'm at 81%. It was just at 82, but maybe it was just on the borderline. Who knows? Anyway, it's slowly cooling down. The rear vents are not blowing, quite possibly because the seat's folded down, but let's see how it goes. So the intent is I want to see what happens if I run camp mode overnight, even though it is hot compared to what it will be in November. But on the other hand, November will be somewhat chilly, if not outright cold. So we'll see how it goes. All right, 8:35 and we're down to 80%. Actually got to 80% a little bit before that, but there you go. I guess the good news is the air conditioning is not working quite as hard. Yes, that's true. So maybe give enough time, it'll calm down and we'll get down to a more reasonable rate of energy use. But anyway, here we go. There you go. Yes, it's past sunset, but a little sunset action for you. There you go. Peace. Just relax. Yes. Okay, so here we are at 8:51 at 80%. The temperature's getting comfortable inside, so I bumped it up to 72 degrees in camp mode. My phone app shows it's like 90 outside. The car still says 109, but it's not 109. Maybe right around the car it is, but it's cooling off. So that's the good news. Okay, here we are, 9:27. Energy is at 79%. The car still shows 109 degrees outside. And I know it's under 100 degrees, so whatever. That may be part of the reason for switching to the GPS-based temperatures. Anyway, that's interesting. It's still at 71. I thought up to 72. But anyway, it's kind of actually chilly inside the car, so that's good. So we'll see how it goes. I was at 81, and that was an hour and a half ago. Okay, whatever. I think it definitely will use more energy than I really expected it to, but maybe it'll be all right. Okay guys, here we are at 5:36 a.m. Interestingly, the outside temperature says it's 91 degrees. I don't think it's anywhere near that warm. Anyway, battery percent is down to 66%. Let's see, I started with 81. So that's 15%, and that's kind of in line with what I've experienced in the Model Y, although not in this extreme of heat. But there you go. That's pretty acceptable. Okay, so camp mode in the Model 3. For the most part, yeah, this worked well last night. You can see right here, I can lay on my side and have room, but I can't kneel up or anything, obviously, because of that. There's plenty of room down here for my feet, although, yes, my feet are right up against the trunk lid, so, or the hatch, but whatever, it works. Because the seats don't lie exactly flat, there's not much room here. I mean, this is going to be high. whereas the back is going to be low. But whatever, you can work around that. So the mattress has to be folded. So this seat here is set for my position. So the mattress had to be folded just ever so slightly down to make room. But whatever, it's fine. So unlike the Model Y, where it's an SUV, so there's more room on top, this is several inches shorter, so it's not as much room to kneel up, so to speak. Okay, so the display is pretty far up, so you have to squeeze in between the seats to touch the display. But then again, you can kind of control the display from your phone, so you know, as far as volume goes, you can do that. I mean, and that's really all you need. Okay. The other part, obviously, is this door. So this is the door I use to get in and out. You can do it, but because the door opening is not as tall as a Model Y, you do have to scrunch down to, or actually I have to slide in and out. Getting in, no, I don't have to slide. I kind of crawl in, but to get out, I kind of slide out. And obviously, since there's a trunk lid here, there's no hatchback. So in the Model Y, if I wanted to, I could just open the hatch from the phone and crawl out the back. Very convenient. But anyway, whatever. It was comfortable. And I will tell you that, so I slept with it at 72 degrees. And, I mean, my house is set to 79, so it's relatively cool in here. So, yeah, it's very comfortable from that perspective. Obviously, in the wintertime, I assume it would be the same kind of deal. The back vents down here were not active, so it was just the front vents. But that was enough. Once the sun went down, it was okay. And so when we're talking about heating, I'm not quite sure how the heating would go. But I know in my Model Y, I didn't really have any problems with that either. So I'm going to go with that assumption for now. So anyway, there you go. Oh, let me try that. Okay, so one of the questions you might ask is, can you transfer between the back and the front seat? And the answer is, well, yes, I can. But, wow, that was like folding yourself in a pretzel to do it. Obviously, it's the same thing where the Model Y is just taller, so there's more room. And I wanted to be careful not to push on something that might break if it took all my weight. So, but yes, by kind of going forward and then bringing my left leg around, then I made room for the right leg and I could sit down. So, yeah, it's possible. And just to throw this in here, for those who are used to Teslas, you know that one of the options, and the option most people get is having your mirrors fold when you lock the car. And when you unlock, they fold out. Well, so I saw the mirrors were closed. I assumed that the car was locked. And no, it's not. So, I mean, you can still lock it through the app. Not a problem. And of course, I am at home, so the walk-away lock is not on because I'm at home. Whereas if I was at a rest stop, when I walked away, it would have locked. But anyway, I just noticed that. I'm just trying it. I'll have to go back and check my recordings, but I could swear when I stopped it was like 66%. Whatever, it's at 61% now. So that's roughly 20%. 7-Eleven right now. So that'd be 11 hours. 11 hours, used 20%. And considering how hot it was when we started, it's not a surprise that it would use more than the Model Y did um, in the fall. I mean, right? So anyway, that concludes this test of the CampMode. I think the bottom line answer is, yeah, sure, it's acceptable. I may have to plan a little bit better, but I mean, plan a little bit better means basically ensure that I have appropriate charge before I go into camp mode. I mean, I didn't really worry about it when I was on my winter trip to Boston, but I was aware of it, of having enough energy to make it through the night. There were a few times where I stopped saying, yeah, the next charging station is 20 miles up the road, whatever, and didn't worry about it. But, well, yes, I did think about it. So anyway, knowing that it might be 20% as opposed to 13 just makes a slight difference in planning. But there you go. Okay, good morning, guys. This is going to be broken out into several different parts, but let's just go from the basic. I went to sleep around 9:30 last night, woke up 5:30 this morning, or 5:36. So that's the basic camp mode that I care about. So that was 8 hours, and it used 13% battery. So that's right in line with what the Model Y did. Now, I did start camp mode early. I started at 8 p.m. So from 8 p.m. to 5:36 p.m. would be 9.5 hours. So it was running for an hour and a half before I went to sleep. But anyway, so that was that used 15%, and 15% is pretty reasonable too. For some reason, the number 13 is sticking in my head from my Boston trip, but I don't remember for sure. But I've been working on some of the recordings. So when I came back to my car at 7-Eleven, the car was down to 61%. So basically over a period of 13 hours, it used 20%. And still 20% is pretty acceptable too. It's just, it kind of scares you when you say, oh, 20%. But what's 20%? So you pull into the rest stop, you need to make sure you have at least 50% battery or something like that. And hopefully you're within 20 or so miles from a supercharger, which I think is what I did when I went on my trip. Except for the one stop where it was a little bit further it was probably about 20 miles actually. So the lesson for that one actually is you want to drive more before you plug into a supercharger. You need to get the batteries warm before you start charging. I mean, that was the one major lesson from the last trip was, oh my goodness, don't try to charge cold batteries. But anyway, that's not. Although I'm going up for Thanksgiving, so it's important to remember those lessons. Okay, whatever. So there you go. 13%, not worried about that at all. 15%, okay. I mean, that's not bad. It's only 2% for an hour and a half. Okay. Sounds about right. Part of what led me here is what happened to me Sunday when I was stuck in traffic behind that accident. And it looked like I was using 2% an hour. But in this case, it looks like I'm using 1.5% an hour. I mean, not really, not at night, but during the day, yes, it is. And it's the heat, right? It's whatever. It's peace and harmony. Okay, anyway. I'm pretty comfortable with that. 13% in 8 hours overnight. Very acceptable. There you go.